our program. So good morning, good noon, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Best wishes to all who have joined me from home and abroad. Today is the 26th episode. We Bangladesh chapter. This program is a regular weekly roundtable sessions program of We Bangladesh chapter. We have determined today's topic, parents' involvement in 21st century schools. So, today is World Teachers' Day. I repeat it again, Happy World Teachers' Day to everyone again. We are all teachers here. This day is celebrated together in many countries of the world with much respect in honor of teacher. But in India, September 5th is World Teachers' Day. There are good reasons for that. So we will not come to that discussions today. We will come to our main discussions involving parents in 21st century. Education is something to think about that. So first of all, I invite Patricia for the opening remarks on today's topic. Please start. Patricia, please. Are you there?
Okay. Yes, of course. Well, good evening, everybody. Good morning for me. Good afternoon, also for teachers of the world. Well, the topic today is parent involvement in 21st century education. And we all know that parents are the first teachers in the life of a child. They are a primary influence. That's why they are so important and they need to be involved in their children's education at school. Studies indicate that students whose parents are actively involved in the process of education in schooling, they learn better and they get higher marks, easier adaptation to school, great social relationships, etc. So as we see, parent involvement can have a great impact on student performance. The thing is that this parent involvement should be encouraged by school. One of the first measures that should be taken is at the beginning of the year, the first parent conference should be held, because there the parents will have the opportunity to know their children's new teacher, and at the same time, the teacher will describe the different procedures, techniques that will be followed during the year, and the different activities their children will be involved in during the school year. The problem is that these type of conferences are not held periodically. At the beginning of the year, they are present, but gradually they decrease. So the thing is that it is our responsibility to keep the regularity of these conferences, because parents should know that when they are called, we need to give. We need to talk about a difficult situation their children may be having in the process of learning, but also they should know that we will give also positive information about their children. For example, their dedication and motivation that they show when they are working in the classroom, their strength, etc. Because usually parent conference and teacher may be a negative connotation. Why? Because they may think that whenever they are summoned, it is because there is a problem. So what we need to create is a pleasant atmosphere in which parents consider teachers as partners, as friends, as allies. That is to say, the idea is not to consider teachers as their enemy, right? So we are working together. We need to work together. And I think that it is a must. Parents and teachers should be together. And it is our responsibility to create this bond between them, because we know the impact it has when parents are actively involved in the process of learning. When they visit schools, for example, teachers should encourage open days at school. This means that parents have the opportunity to visit schools and to see what their children do in the classroom and in the school in general. So the contact then is strengthened. For this reason, it is very important to encourage this involvement, because normally parent involvement is not an important issue in the school decisions. There are other important issues that are considered at school. For example, finance, professional development, assessment strategies. And what about parent involvement? And one of the most important consequences of this pandemic crisis has been the importance that parent involvement has been given. So today we need them. They are important. That's why we are responsible for that. And I think that when children feel that they are supported by their parents, their academic performance changes. And when the students are learning comfortably, it is a sign that we are doing our best from home too. This is my opinion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patricia, for your opening remarks. In this stage, I would like to just mentor Kavik sir. Are you there? Mentor Kovasil. Almost is our program. Most of the time, stay with us. Mentor Kavik, please unmute your microphone. Maybe she is not available. In this stage, I would like to, Teresi Hanson, please unmute your microphone.
Okay, thank you. For those of you who do know of my work, The Matrix of a Learner, there are 5 pieces that connect the learner to the learner cycle, and the first and most important piece is parent and family.
Just I have interrupted. I have a specific questions to you. Why it is important to have parents involved in school?
Because
why it is important to have parent involvement in school?
They're the first teachers of the children. And it's important, first of all, I have a very short story. I asked somebody about their involvement in the virtual school versus face-to-face school. And their comment was, in virtual school, they need more parent support and help than they do in the face-to-face school. And I said to that person, that's not true. Whether they're in virtual learning or they're in face-to-face learning, your involvement with that is very important. Unfortunately, in many countries that I visited, that parenting is cut very short because they send their children into the school systems at the ages of 2 or 3. You know, why? Are they sending them there to babysit their kids or to educate? And what kind of education will a 2, 3, 4-year-old get in a large classroom type setting where they're expected to sit down and listen to directions at that age, rather than being home and learning with the parents the skills that are also so important within their community. Okay. So that's part of the piece. And the other piece too in those countries is that the children who are in school, many of them are gaining skills and knowledge that their parents never had the opportunity to receive. It makes it difficult for them then to support the child if the child's learning things that they don't know. What's important is that the child then becomes the educator by taking those skills back into the home and sharing them and teaching them to the family and parents. Okay. So that there's a piece that goes back and forth. Parents and kids need to have opportunities to talk about and discuss in proactive ways the problems that they're facing, and to be able to do it without the parents criticizing or putting the child down. We don't recognize the abilities and the qualities that our kids have that they can be sharing back and forth. So parents need to be a part of the school and learning process from the beginning of school all the way up through. One of the things that I've noticed is, at least in the United States, parents of the elementary students, particularly kindergarten through 4th or 5th grade, usually are pretty involved. But when they start to go into the high school, they become very less involved and less involved. And it's when you become a parent, it's not a choice. Do I want to take care of the child? Do I want to parent them? Do I want to be involved in the education? No, it's not a choice. It's something that needs to happen, and it needs to be promoted, and it needs to be built in and part of the educational program, which is what we do with the matrix. The matrix starts right off with parents and family members. They are critical to the process.
Thank you, Teresi, for your insightful discussions. We got a lot of information from your great sharing. Thank you. In this stage, I would like to, Laila, please unmute your microphone. I have a question. Just how can school encourage parent involvement?
First of all, a very happy World Teachers Day to each and everyone, as we all are interested and we all are involved ourselves in the greatest service, the noble cause, that is educating the children. Educating the children is not only the responsibility of the teachers, but parents play an important role. I do believe that the greatest title in the world is parents. The greatest title in the world is parents, and the greatest blessing in the world is to have the parent to call them as mom and dad. Then, what is the relation between the teachers, the school, and the parents? I would like to say that the teachers are already playing the role of the bridge between the parents and the children, because we believe school is a second home and teachers are the second mother. Second mother in the sense, not the second wife of the father. Second mother means who can take place or take care of the child, to know the responsibilities of bringing up the children in the best possible manner, to understand the latent potentialities in the children, to correct them at the right time, to help them to grow in the best possible manner by nourishing them with good moral values. That is the sole responsibility of the teacher. I heard and I read that, I think if I am not wrong, it's being told that the first lessons of citizenship is learned by the child from the first kiss of his mother. Just like Tracy Ma'am was telling, in many of the countries where the parents are already involved in profession, they don't have the time to take care of the children. When the child is only 2 or even 1.5 also, babysitters or people, those who are already been paid for it, they take care of them. Why? We, in this greedy world, we are becoming so greedy that we give more importance to money. Then you may ask the question, why you are also going for work? Of course, I do work, but I feel that even though we do work for the family, we do work for the children, we are involved, we are using our talent to bring up the family, bring up the child. Our sole responsibility is to see that the child is growing in the best possible atmosphere, healthy atmosphere. How the healthy atmosphere can be created at home? The first thing is that the parents, the father and mother, should take care of each other instead of quarreling and fighting, because they have to become the good role models for the child. Because the child at 2 or 3 will be recording everything in the mind. Because I remember I have got a son. Now he is 31 years old. He remembers whatever has happened at the age of 3. You won't be believing. Even I had forgotten the date wise, but he is able to tell, no, mama, this had happened, that had happened. So I was thinking, how nicely the children are remembering. Their memory power is good, but we forget whatever we do, whatever we say, whether we are thinking it or not, whether we are already been understanding it or not, whether we are understanding the responsibility of making our children to have the good portraits of moral values or not. Firstly, to bring up the children in the best, as the best citizen or best human being lies on the shoulders of the parents. Secondly, I will say, as Ramdas Ma'am has asked me, what is the role of the school? Of course, the school plays an important role. In this modern world, we can see that each and every school is already struggling to give good education. But good education doesn't mean that math, science, and English, or computer science, or this digital world knowledge. Moral values have to be given, not only through theory, but through practice. That if we practice the moral values, and they will see how the teachers, how the principals are already conversing, how they are behaving, we are already become the looking mirror for them. That cannot be erased easily. If we are writing on the slate with a chalk, or we are writing on the blackboard with a chalk, you can erase it. If you are writing on the whiteboard, you can erase it with the duster. But whatever we are writing on the minds of the children, we cannot erase it. It will be recorded over there. So the teacher has the main role to play, to bring up the child, to make him a good human being with good values. For that, I will say, as one of our renowned speakers has already mentioned, that we conduct the open days, we conduct the teacher-parent, we ensure the teacher-parent relationship. But in many of the schools, sorry to tell, it is only for namesake. They come, they sign, whatever you have to impose on them, finish. Teachers' Day, open day is finished. That is not the purpose of open day at all. You have to tell that your child has got this particular potentiality. You have to tell the parents that you have to take care of your child where the child is lagging behind. You, the teachers, can only tell that. not in an imposing manner. You have to tell it in such a manner that the people, the parents will listen to it, they will understand it, they will value it, they will work on it. If the teachers and the authorities in the school will take care of this particular thing, surely our world will become a better place to live in. There is no doubt in that. And I hope the question which has been put up by Manda's mom, I had tried my level best to be very justifiable to that particular point, because parents as well as teachers, they play an important role, because the society consists of the parents and the teachers, rest of the people come later. So let us be united together on this particular global Teachers Day or World Teachers Day. Let us pledge that woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. Before I go miles to sleep, before I go miles to sleep. So woods are lovely, dark and deep. The children are lovely, they are very deep. They are having the good potential. Try to find it out. Try to make them to use and encourage them, inspire them, motivate them. Then you are the best heroes in the minds of the children. You will become the architects of the coming generation, and our world will be able to progress in. Thank you so much for everybody. Listen patiently to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Laila, for excellent and great sharing. In fact, teachers are not just teachers. We are guardian in the family. So school is the second family of our children. I undoubtedly true, and I agree with you. Hope that all of agree with you. Thank you, Laila, for your great sharing. In this stage, I would like to Talukdar sir, Shamsuddin Talukdar sir, please unmute your microphone. Talukdar sir, are you there? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Sir, I have.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are 100% audible. So, just as a teacher trainer, what do you think of family participation during the pandemic?
Okay, would you please repeat the question?
As a teacher trainer, what do you think of family participation during the pandemic?
What was the question?
As a teacher trainer, what do you think of family participations during the pandemic?
Family participation.
Yes.
During the pandemic.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I would like to congratulate all of you, because Teachers' Day is just after few hours, and we all are teachers here together. It's really, I feel proud that some of my colleagues are here and we are just exchanging our ideas. And only the teacher who can change the art, undoubtedly true. From the very beginning of the civilization, always teacher lead the country. As I know, Teresa Hans is trying to adjust some new procedure through which our children will gather their knowledge. I want to say that's a free knowledge acquisition, something like that. They will go with their will, but the teacher should create the environment from where they will pick all the ideas and they have to move first. And here is another great teacher, Dr. Patricia. We already finished one webinar on English. Many teachers from our country joined there, and she really depicts the picture of English. And at the same time, he showed the way how the teacher will improve their 21st century skills and have to use it inside the classroom. With a situation like Bangladesh, where the condition of school is not similar. Some schools are very rich, some schools are very poor in terms of their furniture, accommodation, their teaching practice, even parents. And this is really very big challenge for the teacher of our country. And Patricia really showed many ways. I want not showed, but she shared many ways how teacher can create their ideas in order to guide the student. That's really very great. And we are the people from other culture, and she is living in another culture. To motivate the people from other culture, it is really very hard, but she did it very nicely. Thank you, Patricia. And again, I would like to say Laila Jacob is here. She is always really working hard, and she's always fighting against the people, those who are not supporting the education, but maybe in some time they're going in wrong way. That's really great. Mamatas, especially our parents, they are not sufficiently rich to provide proper nutrition to their kids, especially in rural area. And this is really a very big support for the children, unless and until they will not able to get the proper nutrition, so their brain will not develop in such a way to make everything understand and to work with a mind that they can leave all the thinking outside the classroom, and they have to concentrate their mind within the concept teacher is handling with. Anyway, in another way, in this pandemic situation, especially in rural area, parents has no cell phone, or if they have a cell phone, that's a old pattern, and this is really big problem. In another hand, parents are not literate in that way how to handle the cell phone and IT. So when the children get the cell phone, then it was really very big problem for them. They are not going to the text, but they are going to the site, which is not suitable for the children. And ultimately, they start to play in a mobile phone, and they wasted their time. This is really very harmful for them. And in other sense, they lose their eyesight, because when a children is just looking over the cell phone with a small screen, and really this is very harmful for them. But out of that, the parents are very conscious why their children are not going to the school. From every corner of the country, parents were telling, oh, government, please open the school. And this is another way, because our parents were not understanding how the COVID will infect the population. Still now, people are not caring about the COVID. If you just go out from the home, you will see many people are moving without any mask. This is something very dangerous. But our teacher, those who played a very interesting role, they always communicate with the parents. They try to convince the parents to talk with their children, to sit in a table, and to allow them to read out the storybook and to draw the picture, and allow them to do some work, household work with their mothers and fathers. And in some cases, our teacher also went to the parents' home with maintaining safety measures. They motivated the mothers and the children to write something. Really, in this COVID situation, government make one wonderful plan. Centrally, they give the assignment to the children, and it was published in a social media as well as in a education offices. Headmasters and teachers send those messages to the children or parents, and there were open source, they can collect it from the net, and the children were start to write out the answer of the assignment. In that way, children start to sit in the table, and parents were helping them to sit properly in the table. That was really very great work the government had done. Due to that, at least they are able to read out the textbook once. Maybe they will not understand everything, but they have to finish it. Whenever they fall in any problem, they communicate with their teacher through cell phone. Because to make a Zoom meeting or a Meet meeting is very difficult due to net connectivity and due to lack of the knowledge of ICT. But teacher did it through giving letters, talking by Oh, okay. Welcome back, everyone. And I would like to finish it with 2 or 3 sentences. This COVID trained our parents in which way in future they will guide their children. And the teacher were really worked hard. And in this situation, they start to communicate with the teachers, they start to collaborate, they start to work with the collaboration. This is really very wonderful. At the same time, creation and creativity were there. So it's really filled the skill of 21st century. Anyway, that was the unique feature of this COVID. And our parents understood that teacher is very important person. Before this, the parents usually said, oh, he is a teacher. Without teacher, we may go. My student will go for a private tuition. But in this COVID situation, they understood school is a very good place where children grown with their understanding, with their physical, or they did some physical activity in the school. They have a social contact in the school. These are very important for any children. So really, this is very good time for the teacher to make our parents understand teacher is very important person for the children. Thank you very much, Mamutaz, for giving me opportunity to express my ideas. Allah Hafiz. Mamutaz, unmute yourself. Mamutaz.
Sorry, sir. First of all, I understand all of your views, and I agree 100% with you. I want to say Bangladesh is a poor country. There is a lot of trouble to meet the basic needs here. So how to deal with this difficult situation?
Mamutaz, you asked me a question?
Yes, sir.
What's the question? Tell me again.
Just from your discussions, Bangladesh is a poor country.
Mamutaz?
Yes, sir. Bangladesh is a poor country. There is lots of trouble to meet the basic needs here. So how to deal with these difficult situations?
Okay, that's a very good question. This is not only the teacher who can change everything. This is the politician, those who will take the main responsibility for changing this situation. Especially Parliament is responsible for that. They have to understand what are the condition of our parents, our children, and what are the condition of our economy. what portion of budget should be provided in education and what portion of budget should be given for teaching purpose. This is very important. At the same time, they have to take a measure to aware the people and especially those who are working in a government offices. In other hand, NGOs should take the responsibility for feeding, for awareing the parents and other persons. And at the same time, teacher will participate to aware civil society. Why should they invest money in education? And this is really very tough situation. You know, Bangladesh government already make a mega project, and he did a program for 240, then again 260. So in a Delta plane, he is trying to convince the people. He's trying to introduce some new ideas inside the school. He's going to support primary school with the food. At the same time, he is going to provide money and other things for the school to make infrastructure. Side by side, government is taking part to train up our teacher, especially how to handle 21st century in future. And these are some steps that government are taking. But at the same time, every people should think about the education. So we first need to make our nation or world knowledge-based society. In that case, every people should work from every corner to expedite this idea. Thank you, Mamatas.
Thank you, sir, for giving me your valuable time and insightful discussions. Thank you, sir. In this stage, I would like to Patricia, please.
Yeah.
Just have a question. So how do children benefit from parents' involvement?
Sorry?
How do children benefit from parents' involvement?
Well, yes. This is, as I said before, this is very important because children are very perceptive and they easily realize when their parents are not paying attention to their schooling. And they may feel frustrated, and they may even feel that they are not accompanied by their parents. So emotional, negative emotions may appear, which of course they won't help them improve their academic performance. That's why parents need to understand that their help is so important. Today, we live in an accelerated world, and both parents work, and they come back home late in the afternoon or in the evening, and it is difficult for them when they arrive home to sit with their children and start doing homework together. So children have to do their assignments by themselves, but they notice that their parents' help is not present. So what happens today in this accelerated world? There is an increasing importance of private tutors. As parents do not have time, they need the help of these private tutors. But these private tutors will never replace the special atmosphere that is created when children are working with their parents at home. And something very important to be highlighted is the fact that not all parents can afford private tutors to have this extra help. So usually parents do not help their children, not only because they haven't got the necessary time or because they are tired or because they are not interested. Sometimes they are not able to help them because they lack knowledge, they lack skills, and also patience, especially during this pandemic crisis. They realized how difficult it was to follow their children's schooling. So from our position as teachers, we should encourage parents to become more involved. But I think that is a question of attitude. They decide if they want to become involved in their learning. The thing is that family and school form a binomial, and they are inseparable. We cannot conceive a school without the help of the families. Why? Because family and school work together and they complement each other. Why? Because teachers need to know about their students. For example, they need to know about their families, their social relationships, cultural backgrounds, and at the same time, parents need to know the type of schools they are sending their children. So when school and homes form a team and work together, everybody wins. Why? Who wins? First the students, then the teachers, and also parents, because they can see the importance of their help when students are trying to learn at school. When they are separated from that help that parents may give, their performance is weakened. You see how important this, and this has to do with emotions. Emotions are present everywhere in our lives. And as I said before, students are very perceptive. And when this emotional support is not present at home, students get debilitated. That's why it is so important to encourage parents to find time to give the students what they really need. I always say, whenever there is a parent conference, that helping students pack their school bags is an act of kindness. This means that they feel supported. So whenever we have the opportunity to sit next to our children and give the help they really need, everybody will be happy. And what is most important of all, children will feel comfortable, they will feel supported, and their academic performance will greatly improve. We shouldn't forget that.
Thank you, Patricia, for your great sharing. I know that some parents, parental involvement activities just assigned regarding journal note for homework, where parents have to sign when it is completed. Send a class news, classroom life, just classroom work, classwork, and home weekly, monthly, with curriculum base, and just curriculum based light or highlights activities. As a student, most sent their homework with notes and what they did well and where they can improve. So thank you for your insightful and elaborate about our today's topic discussions. In this stage, Teresi, can you clarify to me why is lack of parental involvement in schools problem?
The question is for me.
Why is lack of parental involvement in schools problem? Teresi, please.
It is for me the question.
Why is lack of parental involvement in schools problem?
But I'm asking if you are asking me to answer the question, or are you giving the questions to the whole group?
These questions
what?
To Teresi, please. Teresi, these questions to you, Teresi.
Tracy, for you the question.
Oh, okay. For me, the question. Okay. All right. Mumtaz, you want to just say the question? Why is it a school's
Why
problem?
is lack of parental involvement in schools problem?
Why
yeah.
is lack of parent involvement a school's? Well, first of all, we have to stop putting or thinking that education and learning is entirely up to the teacher, because it's not. Okay, learning doesn't just happen in the classroom. Learning happens everywhere. So if you understand the philosophy that I work under, the matrix of a learner, you understand that there are five rungs or five spokes to the success of learning. The first one is the parent and family, and they should be involved right from the start. But you also have to remember that they, as peers, are equally important educators, that our community is a place for learning, and that our community is a strong educator, and that, as we're doing here now as global citizens, having the opportunity to speak with and discuss these issues with others from around the world also gives us the insight and the knowledge of where everybody is and how we can take this knowledge collaboratively and cooperatively to make learning better for everyone. Better not just for the kids in the school, better for our families and parents. And I really hate the term homework, because the kids do not get homework. They get busy work. They get busy work, okay? Take these papers home, copy them into your journal, and show that you're supposed to know it because you copied everything in the way you were told, and then take it back. If you're going to give them homework, then that means taking your knowledge back into the home and becoming the educator to share your knowledge. See, and that gets back to the whole purpose of what is knowledge and learning. What is its purpose? Is it to go to school? Is that the purpose, to go to school and sit in the classroom with however many people, copy everything that you're putting up on the board and pass tests? Is that really what education should be about? And no, it isn't. Okay. And that's probably because of the way we educate our learners, why they can't remember what went on 2 weeks ago, or after they've taken a test that they've studied for at the end of the year. They can't tell you what it was about, the next week, because it has no meaning to them and they don't care. All they needed to do was to take whatever it was that you've been shoving into their little cup of knowledge. They pour it out on the test and they leave with an empty cup. With an empty cup. Okay. So, it really isn't just about parent involvement or community. It's a whole process, a holistic process of educating the students and the parents and the community and us as global citizens and them as peers into how they blend together to make learning interactive, to make learning, and to give kids the opportunity to ask the questions that they want answered, because that means it's coming from inside. It's not being forced on them from the outside. It's coming from the inside. And then that knowledge and that they're gaining, the learning that they're discovering, that they can then use that to make their community a better place. That's what knowledge should be about. It shouldn't be about taking tests or getting scores. It should be about gaining the answers to the questions that you have and the passions that you have, so that you can create something and give it back to other people. Give it back to your parents and to your family. Give back the knowledge that you have. So you see, in the matrix, every single piece of the matrix, from the center being the learner and the 5 spokes, we are each one of those individually, because every one of us is a learner. Every one of us belongs to family. Every one of us is a peer. Every one of us is an educator. Every one of us belongs to communities, and we are all global citizens. So as a whole, this represents us as learners, and it represents how we integrate and work together to then be successful in solving the world problems. And that's really what we need to be looking at. How do we take what we're learning? And we have to also be a little bit more selective in curriculum, because really it is unnecessary for everyone to learn all of the stuff that they try to pack into the curriculum. We need to be more selective. We need to be able to choose what pieces, particularly at the younger age, what pieces are going to motivate them and stimulate them and excite them to want to learn more in the area and the fields that they're interested in. And then to be able to take that knowledge and expand on it in that area. Not in everything, you see. And I think often, and I spend time with my granddaughter, who right now has to stay home for the next 2 weeks. And I look at the assignments that they give her online, and it is no small wonder she's totally lost and confused, because what they want her to look and to find in the knowledge is so overwhelming. And it's also very distant from what her own interests are. She doesn't care about radio waves and electronic this and that. She doesn't really care about that particular thing. And yet she's trying to find pictures, and so she has no guidance or ability to be able to fulfill what it is that she's doing. Okay. And as a parent, I can't help her with that. Okay. I can't understand if I can't understand what it is that the teachers, what the objectives are of the assignment, or what she's supposed to gain from the assignment, how can I support her and help her? So clearly we need to be looking at a lot of different pieces, not just how we involve parents or how we involve community and global citizens. They are really important. But you also need to be looking at the overall curriculum that's being forced on our learners, really, and try and find different ways to allow learning to happen from within the individual out, rather than to continue trying to force it. And that is a key issue with parents. So it's not just involving parents in the education of the learner, but also to help them readjust their thinking about what learning is. That it isn't about the test scores and the grades, because that's what parents look at, and parents think, my child is successful because they did such and such on a test. But what about the child who actually took that knowledge and was able to do something with it and share it and give it back? Is that not just as important or more important if they can use it than if they just know how to test it? And what about the kids who don't test? Well, okay. So there's so many different pieces to the whole thing, but we really need to help parents and families readjust their thinking and get them off of the test page, that's what it's important, and involve them in the learning aspect of it. Well, I hope that helps a little bit.
And what you are saying is really true, because for now we are having this holistic approach to education. Parents need to know what is happening at school, because as they were educating following a traditional model, they think that marks are important. So whenever there is a close connection between home and schools, parents should be told about the changes that are taking place in education so that they will appreciate much better how students are learning, because they knew nothing the way they are learning at the moment. That knowledge should be applied in real life situations. When parents know the way, the new approach to learning and the new approach to teaching, they can help them at home. Because, for example, learning can become active if they turn the home into a laboratory where their children can apply what they learn in a real life situations. For example, if they have learned the weight measures, they can make a cake and they can weigh the ingredients, and in this way they are applying what they learned at school in a real life situations. So this is important. This is learning by doing, experiential learning, hands-on experience. So, but when parents get this information about the new type of learning, they will be better prepared to help students at home. If they know nothing, they won't be able to do anything. And students won't be able to receive the real support they need at home. So information is what they need before starting helping their children at home. This is my opinion.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Teresi. In this, just now, a new guest has joined us.
Welcome.
She's from Brazil, Vilma Barbosa. I would like to say, introduce yourself just. Vilma,
Okay.
and you know that about our today's topic. If you say something about our program or topic, please, you can carry on.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Nice to meet you, girls. I'm Vilma from Brazil. It's a great pleasure having you here. Well, I was listening to Patricia and Tracy talking about putting the same stage family and school. I think it's really important that we do that because, as Patricia and Tracy said, parents have to know what we are doing in school, because nowadays education is different maybe from the time parents went to school. So we are teaching a different way. The students are learning a different way. We have to teach our students the 21st century skills, and it's completely different from what their parents learned from school. So maybe in the past they worked just with books, they were just completing exercises on the books, and today it's different. We have to work with our students in a different way. I love the idea of preparing a recipe from what they learned, and this is exactly what I've been doing, the way I've been working. I love working with different projects with my students because I think they have to feel engaged in their learning. They have to feel more comfortable, and they have to feel they are learning for sure. As I'm an English teacher here in Brazil, so teaching English in a country where just Portuguese is the language, is that not easy? It's not easy because they don't speak English at home. They don't speak English anywhere here. And then when they come to school, why to study English? They don't know why, what for. And then it's really hard to teach them. But since we start teaching them where they can apply the English, that English is everywhere, that we need English to communicate with the world, then it becomes easier. And I love doing this. I love working with projects because it's necessary that they know exactly where they're going to use what they're learning. And we can do that for math, English, geography. We can use different tools to work today. So a geography teacher could work with Google Earth in the classroom, and then it would be amazing for students. They will be really interested. With English, I work with some international projects with my students. We have been having meetings, international meetings with teachers from around the world, and we have had almost 90 meetings so far. And it's amazing because my students are much more confident to talk. In the beginning, they were really shy. They didn't want to open their cameras. They didn't want to say even their name, hi. And then now they are giving presentations and they are discussing about different topics, and that made them really more confident. And I'm enjoying this because now they are able to communicate in front of many people. They are able to open their cameras and talk with people in a confident way, and that's amazing. And I also like the idea of bringing the content from the book, bringing it to real life. For example, some days ago, we were working about famous landmarks around the world, and then we had just a picture on the book about Taj Mahal, and just a few words about Taj Mahal, about Machu Picchu, about some pyramids in Egypt. And then I thought, what about inviting a teacher from India to come and talk more about Taj Mahal, a teacher from Egypt and teach them about the pyramids, a teacher who is able to teach from Machu Picchu, and then they would be learning about the culture, they would be learning about the places, and they would be listening to someone who doesn't speak Portuguese. So this way they became much more confident, they were much more interested in our lessons. And this is the way I like working with my students, and I'm sure that you do wonderful projects with your students as well. And I can't wait to listen and learn from you about the projects you are working, and maybe in the future we can collaborate. Thank you, girls, for the opportunity. I can't wait to listen from you.
Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you, Vilma. Undoubtedly true. Happy to see in this platform and have got to you. Hope that you will be stay with us in next time. It's our global family. From now, you are a member of our family. Okay.
Thank you. It's an honor for me. Thank you so much. I'm honored. Thank you.
Thank you. In this stage, I would like to just, Laila, unmute your microphone.
Yeah.
Okay. Just have a question. What are the disadvantages of single parent family?
Related to single parent family,
Yes.
the child will be totally depending upon one parent, whether mother or father.
Yes.
Either it is mother or father, both roles the single person has to play. Somewhere the person may be failing. If he is a man, he won't be able to play the role of a mother by giving proper attention, affection, love, correction, protective policy. All these things plays an important role. When a child grows, especially in the case of a girl, we know very well that the mother will take care of the girl much. All instructions will be given in such a manner that the mother becomes a friend of the girl or the girl child. Whereas in the case of the mother, if the child is a boy, there also her role we cannot ignore, because we are dealing with the parents, and the parents themselves will come and tell us that, yes, now he has already completed 14 years, the changes we are already seeing in him. The mother is able to detect, father may not be. So in the case of a single parent, I usually admire, or I usually wish to say that the child will be in the proper hands, even though the father is not there. The mother can play the role of a father, but the father will not be able to play the role of a mother, because affection, love, moral values, all these things, along with the supervision, observation, and timely correction, everything plays an important role. So it's very difficult for a single parent to deal with, because criticisms and blame, people will try to blame her or him. And more than that, when many fingers will be, many hands will be pointing out towards him or her, they should not lose the confidence, because they have to think that they are in the world to take care of their children. If that confidence is not lost, surely he or she will be able to give proper care to the child. So single parenting especially exists mainly, we can say, in the Western countries, but they have not failed in that. They are taking proper care. And more than that, we can see that many of the children, those who have been taken care by the single parent, they have already proved themselves as one among the best also. So we cannot ignore the role of the single parent. If both parents are there in the family also, sometimes we can say contribution is zero. So we cannot underestimate, we cannot overestimate. A balancing should be required. And anyway, the family means the parents, that is, they are the mother and the father and the child. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laila. Do any of you want to say something? Just 1 minute.
Well, everything we have said today, in a word, means that parent involvement is very important, and it has been ignored before 2020. And after the pandemic, during this pandemic crisis, we have realized the importance of parent involvement, because when schools closed and the only form of education was through virtual learning, teachers started creating different strategies in order to help parents how to help children at home. But it was rather difficult because for any type of students, ordinary students, students with special needs, and students with disabilities, many of them did not have the opportunity to attend any online class because of their disabilities. So there is a very important education gap nowadays, and we will have to work very hard in order to give the students what they really need. But at the same time, parents can help their children in this education gap that has been created during this pandemic crisis. Today, we are having physical classes, and the situation is different because according to statistics, very little information or very little learning took place during the pandemic crisis. Today, we are trying hard to go back to former times, but it's difficult to go back to those times. We have to adapt ourselves to the new challenges we are having at the moment. And I think that parents should help us in this way to improve education, because remember that we are in a period of transformation in education, and this process is irreversible. That's why parents and teachers should work together in order to give students what they really need.
Thank you, Patricia. Just now we will finish the program. Everyone, your permission. So at the end of the moment, I have seen that my secondary education officer had joined, the Mustafa Kamal sir. So sir, just I want to by respect to you, closing remarks on today's topic. Mustafa Kamal sir, are you there? Okay.
Yeah, yes, thank you very much.
I know that our remaining time 2 minutes. So closing remarks.
In fact, yeah, thank you very much. In fact, I've just arrived now at home. I'm not prepared. I'm just watching and hearing the speech of Ms. Patricia. I like her very much. She's so resourceful. Educationist of Argentina. So today is the Teachers' Day. I know very well, but actually I am not prepared to say something because I was struggling with my mother. Just now I have arrived at home with my mother from Dhaka to Chittagong. So anyway, although since then, we can say this is very important in the 21st century. Parents' involvement is very important. Without parents' involvement, student development cannot be happen. Parental involvement is essential for student development and offers many benefits. It also helps improve students' behavior in the classroom. Having parents and teachers communicate more helps students feel more motivated in their classes. Their self-esteem and attitudes in class improvement. More money. I mean, in fact, we can say if we want to boost up